Daredevil Born Again's first 2 episodes released last Tuesday. That is 6 days ago. I finished season 3 last week. I was really behind. And I finally watched the first 2 episodes this morning. Here's my review of them. But before I dive into that, just be warned. First half, spoiler free. Second half, spoilers. So, stay tuned. If you have seen the first 2 episodes, stay tuned for the spoiler review at the end. But I know people that are waiting for the whole show to finish, so if you haven't, it's going to be a spoiler-free review. I'm going to be doing that throughout each and every episode this year. I'm going to be doing a week-by-week coverage, where I'm going to have the spoiler-free at the first half, spoiler at the second half. I'm going to be doing that for every single episode. And with that said, go ahead and go down below. If you have seen it, what are your opinions? If you're waiting to watch the show, what are your expectations for it? And with that said, subscribe and hit the like button and hit the bell so you never miss another Daredevil review. And with that said, Daredevil Born Again. The first 2 episodes didn't wow me. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little tiny bit disappointed. Now, let's be completely honest, people on Twitter going way too far. Oh, this show's terrible. Going as far to go on Vincent D'Onofrio supporting the show. And, telling him that his character is ruined, to where very obviously he called him dumbass because that was his account name. Yeah, an account called Dumbass told him that his character is ruined. Vincent responded as, hey, thanks for the support, dumbass. Calling him by his account name. Oh, but there's gotta be drama there. Anyways, negativity on Twitter towards the show is way too far. I don't think the show's bad. It just didn't do anything to really wow me. And I think a big thing about that is, just like with the Captain America Brave New World stuff, I finished watching the first 3 Captain America movies, and I moved on to Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Brave New World. It's from peak all the way up here to, oh, okay. Because from those other Captain America projects, you expect them to be all the way up here, because that's what the bar was already set at. But it's not that. It's not that. It's very clearly Disney-fied. Obviously, you still get the violence, blood, gore, people getting arms broken off, F-bombs, which never actually happened in the original show. I was very surprised when they started blasting the F-bombs in this one. But it's Disney-fied to the point of the camera work. I do think it looks good, but it doesn't look nearly as good as the Daredevil Born Again, or Daredevil Netflix show. And that might be a thing that really distracted me a little bit, is just because, I just finished Daredevil Season 3, a couple days later, I go to Born Again, and it looks so drastically different. I don't think it looks bad, but a little bit distracting, especially because of how I literally just finished Season 3, which is peak, by the way, and hey, you can expect a review of Season 3 coming very soon, quite possibly the next video I make. I haven't decided what's going to be next. But, yeah, visually it looks different. The characters go right into here. Obviously, you got Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio, and they're both great in here. Charlie Cox, I love him as Daredevil. He's probably one of the best performing superheroes out there. I think he's performed great. Vincent D'Onofrio is playing a very different Wilson Fisk, but he's still good. And speaking of that, well, actually, I'll dive into that in the spoiler review of the video if you want to watch that, if you have seen the episodes. But, cast, really good. Action, thought was fine. It doesn't do anything that wows me like Season 3's action sequences did, but the action sequence that starts off the show and the action sequence that ends off of Episode 2, I thought were really good action sequences and were really cool. They have all the blood, guts, the shocking surprises that we have there. And so, thought that was fine in there. Specific story plots, and this is not spoilers because it's shown in the trailers. Kingpin running for mayor, I thought was particularly interesting, because it's really weird because, not a spoiler, but we still don't really know how he got out of jail. But I'm going to assume he good behavior or something like that. Some bullcrap like that. But running for mayor and his vendetta against vigilantes, I think, are particularly interesting. I'm excited to see where the plot goes with that. Especially because vigilantes are so far prominent, because this is very obviously part of the MCU. Unlike the first 3 seasons of Daredevil, where you have photos on the wall, Battle of New York, it's in the MCU, but it's not, very prominent in the MCU. This one definitely is. So you have mentions of Spider-Man, all the vigilantes through the city. Very excited to see where that specific plotline goes. And very excited to see how Matt goes back into the Daredevil stuff. The dialogue's not like, there wasn't any scenes like, that made me go, whoa, this is so smart writing. But the dialogue doesn't feel Disney-fied. It doesn't feel like so dumbed down where they're telling us instead of showing us. It still has the themes there that really, really worked. And so I like the first 2 episodes. But like I said, they didn't do anything that wows me. I'm expecting to start loving the show around episode 4, because that's where the main reviews say that that's when the Daredevil stuff starts happening. I still found it compelling. I was still compelled, but I'm not particularly loving the show so far. It didn't really shock me at anything it did, except in the first 15 minutes of the series. But, yeah, I think it's fine. I am excited to see what happens next. Not going to give it a final score because we still got more episodes coming. But if you're clicking off the video now to avoid spoilers because you haven't seen the show, this is the time I'm going to say, why don't you go ahead and subscribe and all that. But also, stay tuned. The spoiler-free review and spoiler review of episode 3 should be out on Wednesday. And with that said, we're going to talk spoilers here of Daredevil Born Again. 3, 2, 1. Gave you guys enough time to click off the video, and we got some specifics I want to talk about here. First thing, Foggy. We all kind of knew he was going to die. I mean, it was quite literally painfully obvious that Foggy was going to die. Because all the things that were being said, there was a certain announcement that said, like, oh, fans are going to be heartbroken in the end of episode 1. Yeah, the theories came true. Foggy died, and my God, broke my heart when he died. I mean, obviously, I love Foggy. Honestly, I'm not even going to lie. I got it spoiled a little bit for me because it took me that long, and I go on Twitter and I see one post about it. Shout out to that guy, but pretty obviously knew that was going to happen. But, honestly, I didn't watch the season because I just, in my mind, wanted these 3 characters to be happy just for a little bit longer. And it's kind of heartbreaking. You see Matt, he killed Bullseye, thought he did. Still alive because he's apparently a superhuman or whatever. But, heartbreaking to watch Matt fall apart. Heartbreaking to watch Karen fall apart because of that. Bullseye stuff, I thought that action sequences was pretty good. Thing I said on Twitter was the little clip they released, I didn't necessarily love because it was such a small format. I think it looked better on a TV. I thought it looked better like that. But that action sequence was particularly good. But back to about Foggy. I feel like they should have waited till the end of episode 1. I feel like we should have got a whole episode just having the characters back. Because what's the point of bringing Daredevil and all these characters back just to kill off Foggy within the first 15 minutes? It just felt like, okay, I miss Foggy. I really miss Foggy. And there's a theory out there that's going around saying that a certain thing with the theories that Foggy might be faking his own death. Do I think it's going to happen? No. Do I want it to happen? Absolutely. I love Foggy, but I just feel like we should have waited to the end of the first episode. Nevertheless, we pop forward 1 year later. Very surprising. I didn't think we'd be going that far. Matt is at his own law firm with Kirsten, one of his friends, and they have their own law firm. They have the trial for Bullseye, and I thought that was particularly interesting because you have the speech by Matt. It doesn't matter what justice you give him, he'll never see Foggy. Emotional stuff because we love Foggy. But and then you get Karen and him and Karen's conversation. That was particularly interesting. I don't think Karen's going to be real prominent in this series anyways, because she's in San Francisco getting a different life. And you see these characters, how broken they are after Foggy's death. And it's quite devastating to see that, specifically after the happy ending of season 3 that I literally watched 2 days before starting this season. But really, really heartbreaking stuff there, and really sad stuff, because I love Foggy, and it hurts to watch that. Anyways, episode 1, you basically see Fisk. He's running for mayor. Really weird plotline because of the stuff Fisk's done. I think it's extending your disbelief too much, but it's still interesting, and it still works because it has an interesting plot, and like I said in the spoiler-free portion, he is going after vigilantes, which I am very excited to see where that plotline is going to go. I also really like the diner sequence of Matthew and Wilson Fisk sitting down talking. I thought that was a really good sequence. Matthew says, "If you try anything, I will be there." And Wilson Fisk says, "If you go back to your old ways, I will be there. And such a cool contrast there, and I'm very excited to see what kind of aspect and where we're going to go with that, because it was so cold, that conversation, and just, they have such a, they were kind of moved on, being friendly to each other, but you also still feel the tension in that scene. The entire scene, you feel the tension. I thought that was the best scene of the series by far. And then Fisk wins the election. He's president of, or not president, but he's mayor of New York. Again, found it to be really weird why people would vote for him, especially after what he did in the original Daredevil show. But it's okay. Extending disbelief too far, but it's okay because the plotline, I'm interested to see where it goes. And then we get episode 2, which I thought was, I don't know. A lot of the show so far feels a little bit rushed, like we're rushing from plotline to plotline to plotline to plotline, where in Daredevil season 1 through 3, had 13 episodes, so it had so long to flesh it out. It feels like we're rushing a little bit here. And the episode particularly felt rushed. It started out with, I think it's Gabriel, I think is his name. He killed a cop. He's White Tiger. He was defending somebody, and he killed a cop. So this whole episode follows Matt. He's with White Tiger. Doesn't know it until halfway through the episode, where he does learn it, and he's trying to get him to be innocent. And that's the main plot of this episode, is he's trying to prove White Tiger's innocence, that the cops were bad. We don't really get to finish that plot, so I don't know where it goes, but I'm assuming it'll be finished around episode 3 or episode 4, and I specifically like the plot line. I'm excited to see White Tiger in action. The suit looked really good in the little clip that we got in the episode. The suit looked really good. I really like the design of the suit, but haven't really seen him in action besides him without the suit, so I'm excited to see where the aspect goes. And that's, again, to the vigilante stuff, because we got White Tiger, we're going to get Muse, we're going to get all of these vigilantes, which I think is really cool inside the Daredevil world, and stuff we didn't get with the first 3 seasons of the show, and I'm very excited to see where that aspect goes here. But he's defending. Oh, also Matthew has a new relationship. Don't really love the relationship so far, but I think it's fine. Not nearly as good as the Daredevil and Elektra relationship, but their relationship I thought was pretty good. I thought it was a fine relationship between him and this therapist. Also, the therapist is giving couples therapy to Wilson Fisk and Vanessa, because apparently Vanessa cheated on him when he was gone or whatever. Again, particularly interesting things. We don't really get anything super fleshed out or anything, but everything's interesting. I'm interested in everything that the show has done so far, but we don't really get a finishing of the plotline, so I don't know if it's going to round out good or bad, and that's basically where I'm at with this season. And then the final portion of the episode, where Matt goes to this guy's house, the guy that was getting beat up by the police, tries to fish information out of him, and then the bad guys show up, and you see Matt beat the crap out of him, and you see that he's literally in pain, doesn't want to be Daredevil anymore, and particularly interesting. So it left off at a part where I'm excited to see what happens next. I want to know what happens next. I am instantly invested to see what happens next, and that is where I am at with the show. So, the show so far, like I said, didn't do anything to wow me, but it's interesting enough. It is interesting. We set up all these plot lines, and I'm interested to see where it follows up in episode 3, which comes out tomorrow night. Stay tuned for Wednesday, where I will have a spoiler-free and spoiler review of that episode. But I think that's all the thoughts I have for now. I didn't write notes for this video, so I'm kind of just balling it in my head. I thought the episodes were fine. I'm excited to see what happens next. Like I said, tell me down below, what do you guys think of the first 2 episodes of Daredevil so far? And with that said, go ahead and subscribe to never miss another Daredevil Born Again review.